Like, it's a little too fast, right? Look at this. Bing, bing, bing. Like, it's freakishly fast. It's too fast. You can't bring your weapon out that quick. I don't know what the hell he's doing. This is what's going on, guys? Plaid Boy back with another video. Get on the plaid train. Get yourself a plaid shirt. That's what we're doing here, okay? I hope you're all doing very well. We're going to talk about Arcane Mage today. In other news that isn't plaid related. Also, really quick housekeeping thing I need to talk about before we get to Arcane Mage. I need you guys to help me name this sucker. I got this was a gift from my daughter. And it's really cute. And it's a dragon for Dragonflight. And it's going to be a part of my stream prop thing going on here. I need you to help me name this. So it's a cute little dragon, okay? So in the comments, give me some name ideas. I want a good name. Nothing stupid. Give me some cool names for this, or put it in Discord. There's a link to the Discord down below. Let me know what you think, okay? I want to name that thing. Now, Arcane Mage. Let's talk about that. I did Fire Mage. We're doing Arcane Mage today. Frost Mage will be coming soon. I really enjoyed Arcane Mage, and I'll talk about the class tree, and then I'll talk about the build that I kind of ran. Unfortunately, I don't have any like Mythic Plus footage because it's not the weekend, and it's really frustrating that Blizzard doesn't just let us have Mythic Plus testing all the time, because I did do a heroic dungeon a minute ago. I waited an hour and like 5 minutes for it, and then everything just died like really, really quickly because that's the way it goes. So not very good footage there, but I'll show you some good stuff here on the dummies. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about the class tree. We'll talk about the spec tree. We'll get into all of that. Arcane Mage feels really, really cool, and it's mostly because they changed their major cooldown, which used to be Arcane Power, into Arcane Surge. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, let's do class tree first. I'll make this a little bit smaller just so you guys don't yell and scream at me, you know? Cool. Okay. So, number one, Alter Time is still an amazing cooldown. It's the most ridiculous thing. I love Alter Time so much. I've used it so many times now in situations where it's like you get 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks of something, and then just boom, they're all gone. Like, people who are min-maxers at this, like, oh my god, you're going to be so good at this. So, really loving Alter Time. Let me just say another disclaimer really quickly that you guys know I'm not a master at this, so if you see something that I'm doing in this video that is like, Zuko, that's completely stupid, you shouldn't do that, let me know in the comments down below. You know, you don't have to flame me too hard, but let me know. I would love to learn from you guys who really play Arcane Mage like religiously. Let me know in the comments down below, because I'm probably going to mess something up here. So there you go. Alter Time's amazing. Rune of Power is still very, very good. Shimmer is insane. All the barrier stuff in the class tree is really broken, right? Like, if I press barrier, first of all, I get a 56k barrier, 15% less magic damage taken. That's the Arcane Mage thing. And duration of all harmful magic effects reduced by 25%. So really, really, really cool there. Lots of DR for the Arcane Mage. Fire Mage gets like the Molten Shell that does damage to enemies, yada, yada. On top of that, when you blink, you get this shield, right? Tempest Barrier. You can just keep resetting it. Let's say that let's say I had a dot on me and it consumed my Tempest Barrier. Well, guess what? I just get another one back for 17k. And then my shield's back. Boom, I pop my shield again, 56k. On top of that, I can press Shifting Power, which gives me 12 seconds off of all my cooldowns. And guess what? My Prismatic Barrier is back again. So there's a ridiculous amount of shielding going on for Mage in the class tree. And your barriers will heal you for 20% of the amount absorbed, which is really, really cool. On top of that, that's that. Never mind. You can get down here. You can get your barriers cooldown more quickly. But yeah, lots of like barriers and healing. On top of that, though, this is what I wanted to say. You've got DRs. Mirror Image is a 20% DR. Greater Invis is a 60% DR that lasts for 6 seconds. That is outrageously strong. It's so good. So Mage is like really tanky. Tankier than I ever thought it could be. And it's the class tree is awesome. I really love it. So Alter Time is such a mage way to avoid damage, but then you still have flat damage reductions if you want them, and then you have all the consistent healing coming out of barriers. So super good, super cool stuff coming out of there. Other important notes to talk about for the class tree, we do get Time Anomaly, which is really, really good. I actually was starting to lean towards Time Anomaly even in my Fire build. I don't think Meteor is really worth it. Getting Time Anomaly for Arcane Mage, though, is disgusting because it can give you Arcane Surge, which Arcane Surge, if you don't know, used to be Arcane Power, which basically did this, gave you 25% more spell damage for like 15 seconds or something. That's all it really did. But now we have Arcane Surge, and it gives you mana back as well. So if you get Time Anomaly going off, you get a whole bunch of mana. It's like a little mini evocation, and it's very, very strong. So it's kind of a no-brainer. You want to come down and get Time Anomaly. Plus, you get the defensive Greater Invis. And then there's Shifting Power, which I've talked about in the Fire build, but I'll talk about it here. Shifting Power is disgusting. It's so incredibly good for all the mage specs. In particular, for Arcane Mage, we don't have Fire Blast anymore. We don't have Phoenix Flames anymore. What do we do have? Well, we have Touch of the Magi and Radiant Spark. Those are your two big combo pieces you're going to put together. And cooling them each down by 12 seconds is so huge for Shifting Power. It's just really, really good. So I absolutely love Shifting Power, and it's the other really big thing that you're going to want to take in the class tree. So that's the class tree in a nutshell. This is kind of a basic setup that you might want to run. It buffs all your barriers. It gives you alter time. It gives you your 2 defensive cooldowns, and it gives you your major capstones here. Dragon's Breath is just a CC ability at this point for Arcane Mage. Okay. Let's talk about the spec side of things, because there's a lot going on here, and there's some carryover actually from Shadowlands and expansions in the past. So Rule of Threes is back up here. I'm not using it, but it's here if you want it. It actually would just save you a crazy amount of mana, because every time you get a 3rd arcane charge, the cost of your next blast or missiles goes down by 100%. So it's a free ability. So that's pretty consistent mana regen that you're getting on Rule of Threes. I don't think you actually need it anymore. We're really good on mana now, and I'll show you why in a minute. Nether Tempest is back in the middle. I was trying it a little bit, and I think it can be good on some builds. I watched a couple of videos of some people using it as well, so it's probably a very good ability. I find that if you're throwing this into your build, you get a little bit GCD locked, because you're like doing like Rune of Power into like Spark, into Magi, into Arcane Surge, and then you probably want to press Nether Tempest right there in that moment. And then you're going like Barrage into Orb, into Barrage, into Orb, into Barrage. It's just like there's a lot of other buttons that I want to press. And having to stop for even 1 GCD for Nether Tempest felt a little bit clunky to me. But I do think it's a good ability. I'm sure some of you guys can comment down below how you would work Nether Tempest into your build. I understand you want to have 4 arcane charges up before you launch this sucker, because then it's going to do more damage, as you can see in the bottom of the tooltip there. But let me know what you guys think about Nether Tempest. But it's back from previous expansions. Supernova's back, which I don't think Supernova is particularly good for its damage, but the knock-up is actually incredibly good, probably in Mythic Plus and also probably in PvP. I can imagine the knock-up would be quite substantial against another caster in the PvP arena. That would be pretty good. So probably where it's going to find its niche. Arcane Bombardment is back. This was a legendary in Shadowlands, sorry. Arcane Barrage does execute damage, basically, which could be really good on like a raid boss fight. Could be good in Mythic Plus as well, but probably on a raid boss. Mana Gem is back. I'm not using it, but it's back. Gives you mana, and then it can also give you clear casting stacks, which is pretty cool, actually. It also gives you spell damage. So it's here, but again, I don't actually think you need the mana, to be honest. And let me tell you why you don't need the mana. Number one, the biggest thing coming back for Arcane Mage is going to be Arcane Surge. And it's used to be Arcane Power, and now it's changed. So if you don't know what this ability is yet, let me break it down for you. You're basically launching a tactical nuke at an enemy. It does a crazy amount of upfront damage. It consumes all your mana that you have currently. It just goes, sucks all the mana out, and then just launches this ballistic missile that does a ton of damage, and then gives you Evocation for 15 seconds. Like, it's actually better than Evocation because of how long it lasts. But basically what you're getting now out of Arcane Surge is a second Evocation, but also a damage ability. And then if you take one more talent, you also get the old school Arcane Power ability, which again, it used to just give you like a flat 30% damage bonus. So now you get a damaging ability that you can work into the rest of your abilities, i.e. Touch of the Magi, and it does a buttload of damage, which is really, really fun, and it gives you evocations. You don't run out of mana. So like, there's this duality to Arcane Surge where it just shores up any problems that you might have had with mana regen in the past, because you only had 1 charge of evocation down here. Now it's all solved because you basically have 2 charges of evocation and it does a ton of damage. So Arcane Surge is ridiculous. It's so strong. It's so good. You're going to love it in game. It really, I think, makes Arcane Mage much more desirable now because also, of course, you also get Arcane Power. You basically get the entire old school version of the cooldown that you had anyway. So the best part about Arcane Surge, in my opinion, is that it does damage, and you can squeeze that damage into a Touch of the Magi window. So that really fits well with the Arcane theme. As opposed to just getting like a flat 30% more damage done, you actually get to have some interesting gameplay to think about and make sure you're timing things correctly. And I'll show you the rotation in a minute. So that's the most exciting thing for Arcane Mage, in my opinion. It's really, really good. Some really cool talent combinations in this build that I want to talk about really quickly here. Amplification. So when clear casting, Arcane Missiles fires 3 additional missiles. So it fires 5 in total. And I don't know if it's accounting for, I think Amplification makes it fire 8 when it's clear casting. So instead of 5, you get 8, which is really good. That synergizes pretty well with Arcane Echo down here. Direct damage you deal to enemies affected by Touch of the Magi causes an explosion. So I can throw Touch of the Magi onto an enemy, and then I can launch a whole bunch of missiles over and over and over again, get clear casting missiles going, and it'll be every time one of those missiles hits the Touch of the Magi target, it goes boom, 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 boom. It pulses damage. You're going to see that in a minute. Very, 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 very cool. And you're going to combine all of that with Arcane Harmony, which was another Shadowlands legendary, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I think it was. Each time Arcane Missiles hits an enemy, the damage of your next Arcane Barrage goes up by 5%. So you can get a 100% damage increase on Arcane Barrage, which is your spender, of course. Your big spender. Your Arcane, like, your Arcane Power spenders. Not power. Your charges. Arcane Charge spender. Sorry about that. So those are kind of some neat combos there. Arcane Harmony, of course, also synergizes quite well now with Arcane Barrage. Does more damage based on each target that it hits, and it's going to cleave. So you basically build up a bunch of Arcane Missiles, which increases the damage of your next barrage, and then you make that barrage cleave 4 targets, right? And then it just goes, it's just crazy, right? So you actually get 5 targets in total, right? Because you hit the main target, plus it's going to cleave to 4 additional targets based on how many charges you use there. So those cleaving Arcane Barrages are going to do double damage from Arcane Harmony if you have it stacked up in time. So really, really good synergies here in the tree. And then we're getting a Radiant Spark back, which was the Kyrian ability. You're just gonna basically combine this, throw it into your Touch of the Magi window every single time. Again, I'll talk about that in a minute. Evocation is here, and there's a buff to Evocation, Siphon Storm. Evocation grants you arcane charges, basically, and then you get Intellect. So again, what's really cool about this is because we have Arcane Surge giving us mana back, we can be much more liberal in our use of Evocation. You can just use Evocation to get this buff down here. I'm not saying you can do that all the time. There's going to be lots of moments where you need to use Evocation correctly, and don't get me wrong, like that's probably the majority of the time, but like, because you get so much mana back from Arcane Surge, I just feel like this can serve an additional purpose now, Evocation. It can be there to give you this buff instead of just giving you mana back. So that's kind of cool as well. There is another line to go down here, this line of talents, which is about Arcane Orb. I've experimented with it a little bit, and I don't think it's super great right now compared to the Arcane Harmony build with Radiant Spark and also... But anyway, I'm going to experiment with it more. Let me know what you guys think about the Orb Barrage line on the capstone here. I would love to hear from you guys about that. Now, let's get to the dummies. The biggest thing that Arcane Mage still has is that it is a spec that combines like 3, 4, 5 different cooldowns all layered on top of each other, and you get this huge burst of damage, this huge like layered cake that just explodes and does a ton of damage. That is still how Arcane Mage plays. It's still exactly like that. So if you like that style where you pile 3, 4, 5 cooldowns off top of each other and then just detonate it all, that's very, that's what you're going to be getting out of this spec, and it's very exciting and very, very cool. So let me show you how it works. Basically, on an opener for AOE, you could do something like this if you want to. This is sort of the least complicated opener you can go with. You can do Rune of Power into Radiant Spark into Touch of the Magi, into your new big cooldown, Arcane Surge. This is going to eat up all of your mana, but give you all your mana back, so don't worry about it. What you're doing is you're getting your 40% damage bonus here. You're getting Radiant Spark getting its own damage boost. Then you're throwing Touch of the Magi in there along with Arcane Surge to get the immediate value out of Touch of the Magi, because Touch of the Magi stores 20% of whatever other damage you're doing. So you go Touch of the Magi into Arcane Surge, and then you're going to do a combo of Barrage Orb. Now I'll show you what the damage looks like here. There's probably a better way to do this, I think, because Touch of the Magi is off the global cooldown, which is very, very important to remember. So I think what you could end up doing is like layering maybe Arcane Barrage first into a Touch of the Magi and then do your Arcane Surge, but I'm just going to keep it simple for now. So here we go. Rune of Power into Spark, into Touch, into our big cooldown, okay? And then we're actually going to do Missiles, because Missiles are going to explode for us. Then we're going to do this into Orb, into Barrage. I'm glad we got the Barrages up. You can see we're doing 135k damage right there. That's what you're going to get. And then you're going to do this, and then you're going to do Shifting Power. Get all your cooldowns back. Then you're kind of into a regular rotation here. We're just building up arcane charges. Okay, you could do it with Arcane Explosion if you want. And then we're unleashing them. I'm going to do Explosion just for a second here. Boom. Try and get some extra. Okay, there we go. Then we go Rune of Power. I'm going to go Spark into Touch of the Magi again. Okay, here we go. Big Touch of the Magi window. Barrage into Orb. Whoops, I totally messed that up. I'm sorry. I was running. That's what you want to do. You kind of always want to have Spark into Barrage. And then when you don't have those cooldowns up, you can press Explosion into Barrage. Get those, try to stack up these arcane charges as quickly as possible. Okay, into Barrage again. Okay, I'm going to do more of this. A little bit more into Barrage. We'll do some Missiles. We do want to cast our Missiles and get them ready for our next window. Okay, we'll do Arcane Orb. Here we go. Okay, now, everything's coming back. Everything's coming back. So we want to get ready for that. We have Arcane Surge is back. Rune of Power is back. Everything's back now. Here we go. We're going to go Rune of Power into this, into that. Then we go Arcane Surge. Sorry, Touch of the Magi into Surge. And then we consume. And then we do this into that. There we go. We keep going for a little bit. Those are your big kind of like combos there. And you want to be weaving in the magic missiles, the arcane missiles, because of Arcane Harmony down here, of course, which is going to buff your next barrage damage. Again, I'm assuming I didn't do that entirely correctly, but that's a simple rotation that you can execute for AoE damage, and it will pile a bunch of cooldowns on top of each other and then give you ridiculously big barrages here. I had a 103k crit on barrage. Touch of the Magi hit for 90k. Our Arcane Surge hit for 127k. 127k on Arcane Surge. So that's what your new cooldown's getting. You can see Arcane Echo there doing lots of damage as well. This would do lots more damage if we had more than 4 targets, but we don't, unfortunately. But that's okay. Now, on single target, let's switch over here. So that's kind of an AoE rotation there. Let's do single target. It's not going to change too much. What I do want to do, though, is build up as many arcane missiles as I can right off the start. So we're going to do Rune of Power. Actually, I'm just going to go, first of all, like this. And I'm going to press Rune of Power once I'm ready to do my big combo. So I'm going to start with Arcane Blast, and then we'll just do some missiles here. Yeah, good. We got some more. We got a missile proc. So lots of missiles. Here we go. Let's get up to 4 stacks here. Okay. Now, we're going to go Rune of Power into Touch of the Magi. Here we go. Then we go boom. And then we do missiles. Missiles, missiles, missiles. Because they're going to do way more damage. There we go. We got everything to into our window there. I'm just doing more missiles. Get some of these. Here we go. Missiles is good. You can see we've got our Arcane Harmony, so we're going to cast Barrage. We always want to cast Barrage if we have our max stacks there. Waiting for all my cooldowns to come back. Let's do this. Okay, now we've got it back. Rune of Power into Spark. Into Touch of the Magi. Here we go. And we'll do missiles into missiles. Into a barrage. You want to try and finish your Touch of the Magi with a barrage, because it'll give you way, way more damage at the end, right? So, again, I'm not playing this perfectly. I know that. I can tell you're all looking at me funny right now. I'm probably doing it a mediocre job here, but the damage is incredibly good on single target as well. It's very, very good. I probably shouldn't be using this either, but... Okay, we're going to do missiles. Here we go. We're kind of just using our mana right now. I might evocate here in a second. Okay, evocation. Because I have my cooldown back. We're going to go Rune of Power, into Spark, into Magi, into Arcane Surge, into missiles. Lots of missiles. Into a barrage. Always want that barrage at the end. Boom. Look at the damage. Look at our damage right now. Look what we just did. Hello? We were at 150k there. Isn't that insane? This is what you can do with this thing. It's so ridiculous. Okay. Okay, we got our combo up again. We got some speed, so let's build this up. Okay, we go here. And, oh no, I messed that up. That's okay. We got Arcane into here. There we go. Do missiles. We don't really have any ability to, that was a rough one there. That's okay. Sometimes you get rough windows like that. Okay, here we go. This is the, this is the gist of it. So you get it there. But see how much damage we had there for a minute? Look at Touch of the Magi. Touch of the Magi did 1.2 million damage. Do you see that? Do you see that? Like, what? What even is that? Our Touch of the Magi did 1.25 million damage when it detonated. Are you shitting me right now? I don't even know what to say about that. Arcane Surge only did 73k, but because we jammed all of the Arcane Surge and all of our Arcane Missiles into the Touch of the Magi, and the Arcane Barrage that went through did 87k, it made the Touch of the Magi do 1.25 million. So the normal hits were 640, which is good. The average damage on my Touch of the Magi was almost 1 million, 945,000 deep damage right there. So the single target damage on Arcane Mage is exceptional. It's really good, and the AoE damage doesn't really require a different setup. I didn't change my talents in order to do single target damage. This is what's really, really cool about Arcane Mage. It's sort of like you're just funneling all this damage into the Touch of the Magi window, and then it will detonate and do either AoE damage or do tons of single target damage. Like, it does both. So it's a very flexible cooldown in that regard, and it makes this incredibly fun. So... yeah, I've really enjoyed actually playing Arcane Mage, and unfortunately the dungeon footage I'm not even going to show you guys. It's literally not worth it. It's just heroic dungeons, and it's me failing to do the executions properly. The stuff you saw right here with the dummies was a much better example of kind of what the damage potential might be for you with this class. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you all. Arcane Mages, let me know what I could do differently about my rotation, because I do think that I was watching another guy do it on YouTube, and I think that he ended up like pressing Barrage and then pressing Touch of the Magi as the Barrage was reaching its target. So I understand that that is a thing you can do, and that is something that I can work on doing. I just don't know how he does the rest of his cooldown, so I'd need to like line it all up and work it out. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys, about Arcane Mage. I think it has the potential to do some of the highest single target DPS in the game if you play it correctly. It's outrageous how much damage the Touch of the Magi can do. It's insane. So let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.